Good morning, friends. Welcome to our monthly webinar. It's number 5 today, and happy to share. We have a special presentation today, and then we have a special guest today. But before go to the presentation, I just want to give you a brief introduction about our Voice of Men 360 and also the program we are running and the International Men's Day. So first of all, thank you for your support, and of course, Voice of Men 360 is recently launched, and we are organization launched in Toronto, Canada, and it is part of IMD, International Men's Day. We are following 6 pillars. The 6 pillars are: number 1, to promote positive male role models, not just movie stars and sportsmen, but everyday working class men who are living decent, honest lives. Number 2, to celebrate men's positive contributions to society, community, family, marriage, childcare, and the environment. Number 3, to focus on men's health and well-being, social, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Number 4, to highlight discrimination against men in areas of social services, social attitudes, expectations, and law. Number 5, to improve gender relations and promote gender equality. Number 6, to create a safer, better world where people can be safe and grow to reach their full potential. These are the 6 pillars we are working on, that we are part of International Men's Day. You can see, maybe you heard that International Men's Day, it's been serving for more than 20 years. This year, 2020, is our 21st year. And Voice of Men actually having a couple of events. One is Open Up. It's a talk show, live talk show in English. On Sundays, anybody can come and join and share your life journey. And also we have a monthly webinar twice a month and a special discussion on every other Saturdays. And also we're going to have a special event this coming 14th to 19th, International Men's Day. We're going to celebrate a week-long celebration. And of course, today we have a special guest to present a very beautiful and important topic and program. So let's welcome our good friend Harry. Harry, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Please introduce yourself. I want to hear. I have a question for you. So introduce yourself and then give us about yourself, please.
My name is Harry Sundaralingam, and I have been in mental health for 5 years, and it's always a very fascinating field. And also, there's a lot of things need to be done in an overall mental health system, but also in terms of people of color. My inspiration came from mental health is from being born in Sri Lanka and growing up there. Mental health wasn't really a part of the day-to-day conversation and wasn't really hugely noticed in our society back then. And coming to Canada is kind of a similar experience. I've noticed it, and I've seen a lot of people around my social circle kind of struggle with mental health, and so I kind of decided to take this path. And so far I'm enjoying it. I mean, I'm also doing my grad school in psychotherapy, so that's something I'm really excited and always into improving programs for youth and the marginalized society and the people of color. That's why I'm going into it. Currently I'm a BounceBack coach for a Canadian Mental Health Association, Joke and South Simcoe region.
Nice to hear. So let's. I always ask. I'm always passionate about finding these things. Anything happened in your early days? Let's say if I take you back 5, 10, 15 years old. Can you remember anything later your current position, or any influence or any incidents that you can remember? What sometimes the connection. Can you go back?
Yeah, absolutely. Growing back, I never thought about mental health, to be honest with you. And like I mentioned, when I came from Sri Lanka, I mean, we didn't know what is depression, what is anxiety,
Exactly.
and it's quite normal that in Sri Lanka, when you talk about psychiatric disorder, people talk about the madness, which kind of prevalent back in the days in Canada too, like 1950s and 1940s. And when in Canada, people talk about mental health, it's all about like being crazy, putting in a jail. That's not the mental health anymore nowadays. They are very extreme level, and they are very much like 1 to 2%. The huger challenges like the basic common mood disorders like depression, anxiety, panic, and phobias, and etc. So I never heard these words growing up. So growing up in Sri Lanka, I mean, there's a lot of obviously the war and a lot of challenges. So you might experiencing anxiety. And when I came to Canada, I'm like, what's going on here, right? You can't even talk to people sometimes properly. And I didn't even know the definition of what I'm experiencing it until I went to high school and I learned about, okay, this is what I'm going through it. So then it kind of led into the direction of going into behavioral science, and I want to study into this field. And yeah, that's where everything started.
Sure. Thank you for sharing. Let's start the presentation actually.
Yeah, sure. So before I tell about BounceBack,
Yep.
in terms of the Canadian mental health system, particularly in Ontario, a few years ago, the typical system is that if anyone experiencing mood disorders, and they tend to go to the family doctors, or they don't know how to navigate it, and they refer to a counseling programs or a psychotherapist or psychologist, and they will wait for 3 to 6 months. So the waiting period is always longer. Meanwhile, imagine someone is struggling with the depression and they don't get their services and support right away. They ended up going into a crisis situation or severe level of depression down the road. So, in terms of the access to the services and then the availability of the services always limited until now the government is and other organizations are really pushing for people to get the services as soon as possible. So BounceBack program is fall under that category. And when I came into the mental health, like I mentioned, it's very much difficult for anyone to get any support. Um, Within even someone to contact them, hey, I'm going to talk to you in a few weeks. It takes months. But now what we do, BounceBack is a program doing a great job in terms of connecting people with the depression and anxiety. I will explain a little bit detail about the requirements. We kind of connect people and support them. So this program is designed by a Scottish psychiatrist. His name is Chris Williams in Scotland, and basically it's adapted by the Canadian Mental Health Association, British Columbia, in 2008. Since then, they've been like supporting more than 40,000 people, and in terms of Ontario, the CMHA York region started in 2015, and they ran a pilot program, and the pilot program was successful, and then they rolled out the program in 2017, and it is funded by the Ontario government. And this program is free for everyone who lives in Ontario. Um, what is BounceBack? BounceBack is a program based on cognitive behavior therapy. As a modality is very effective in terms of supporting a lot of mood disorders, for example, depression or anxiety. When I say about depression and anxiety, is one of the common prevalent disorder in our society. So 1 in 5 people have an anxiety or a depression, and sometimes people tend to have both at the same time because they go hand to hand. When someone having an anxiety, they have a high chance to end up experiencing depression, or someone with a depression tend to experiencing anxiety at the same time. So cognitive behavior therapy is kind of focused on your thoughts and behavior. Like if you look at the PowerPoint, there are a few areas cognitive behavior therapy kind of focus on it. So, for example, I can give an example of how cognitive behavior therapy is related to how you think, also related to your behaviors and your emotions. Imagine you go to your job and you made a mistake, and that's a situation or scenario we could consider. And what's going to happen is that some people tend to have an automatic thought that, okay, I'm not really good at this job. I must be stupid or I must be dumb. So these thoughts we call like self-critical thoughts. So what happens when you have these thoughts? They're going to make you more anxious or have a low self-esteem or even sadness. So these are the emotions we call altered feeling. Uh, and then when you're experiencing these kind of feelings, you may experiencing physical symptoms, like for example, lack of energy. When you are sad, you don't want to do anything, so you may not have any motivation to do it. So behaviorally, what's going to happen? You will avoid, or you wouldn't like to go to job. So basically, you try to avoid it. It's a simple example, but if you realize it, oftentimes people make mistakes. But when you perceive yourself as I'm dumb, that really impacting you and impact your emotions. So they are all interconnected. So in overall, the cognitive behavior therapy kind of points out that oftentimes you're experiencing a lot of lifetime practical situations. Um, Moreover, so like how you perceive the situation is gonna decide how you feel about it. So that's a basic theory of cognitive behavior therapy. So in this program, we really focus on the thoughts and the behavior and using the workbooks. So there are two types of bounce back. I mean, mainly we do the bounce back coaching component and the workbooks where you need a referral. Other when people want to know more about this program, there are some videos and learn about it, how these thoughts are really influenced and how can you overcome it. And it's also available on the website. I'm gonna direct that later. Um, what do you need for a bounce back? Bounce back, we basically get a referral from family practitioner, for example, family doctors. We get a lot of referrals from family doctors, um, nurse practitioners, and psychiatrists. And but also client could refer themselves. I mean, there's a website I could go at the end and explain how you could do it on your own. So there's a two option. Like you don't need to wait until you go to your doctor and do this and come to this program. But you could really go to online right away and sign up and fill up the form. And that will take only 2 to 3 minutes. Um, what's happened once you've done the referral, we will contact you within 5 to 6 business days. And these bounce back where we do a telephone based coaching session and everything done through telephone. And what we do is that we do have a 3 to 6 coaching sessions. And each coaching session, we go through the workbooks and discuss about it, and then we'll choose what other workbooks you're going to work on your own. So this is a self-help program. I have to tell you that this is a. So when I say a self-help program, you're going to be receiving the workbooks, and you're going to be working on your own and relating the material with the current situation, and then we will come back and review it. So in terms of the workbook, I've been telling about workbooks. What are the workbooks? And we do have over 20 workbooks for adults. I mean, you can see that in the screen. For example, understanding low mood and depression, understanding worry and stress. These workbooks kind of explain how you really feel depressed and why you are really feeling anxious. And there are other workbooks kind of help you to change your thoughts. Like I mentioned, like if you're having a self-critical thoughts, there are workbooks kind of help you to change it. And so there are a lot of workbooks in focusing on different areas. And Bounce Back is not designed for adults only, but it's also accommodating youth. So we do have a separate workbooks for adults and youth. Um, so on this screen, you can see there's a workbook for youth. We have a 9 workbooks. Basically, youth could get benefits from these kind of workbooks. They're very simple format. And what is the difference between Bounce Back program to other program is that it's not a counseling program, it's a coaching program. So there are coaches trained in CBT and they kind of help the participants to learn life skills and they also provide motivations and also track the changes in terms of the mood. And the coaches are overseen by a clinical psychologist, so we have a higher standard of services. And also, whenever the risk comes up, whether it's self-harm, suicide, um, the report has been supervised by the psychologist. And we do as a primary care provider, because we do communicate with the primary care provider. Typically, is going to be your family doctor or whoever send the referral. So when you do the self referral, you are required to put your family doctor. So that person is going to be your primary care provider. The reason we ask, because they are the one responsible for your care. So what I mean by, if there's a risk comes up, we're gonna communicate with your doctor, say he endorsed risk. If you decided to complete the program, then we will notify your doctor. If the participant decided to withdraw from the program, then we will notify that. So these are the basic communication. We're gonna be doing that with the family doctor as well. So what is the journey of BounceBack? So once you've done the self-referral, or when we receive a super referral from your primary care providers, and then we're going to contact the participant within 5 business days. So basically, the coach will call the participant, and what's going to happen is the person is going to explain about this program and send some information packages. And then after that, they're going to book an assessment session, and then we will come back probably 2 to 3 weeks, and everything's going to be done through telephone, and there's no Skype, there's no video call, anything like that. So on the assessment session, we come together and we're going to go through some questionnaires and review the information package, and then we will begin the program. So each session, the participant will choose the workbook they feel more relevant to you, and they will work on their own. And then we will come back on the session and we will discuss about it. And so this session goes on up to 5 to 6 sessions. Some people feel better after session 5 and they want to complete the program, and some people liked it and they want to do at the last session as a completion. Um, this is a cycle of bounce back program. So typically, if someone joins this program, it will take about 3 to 4 months on average to complete. In terms of flexibility, the participants book the coaching sessions based on their availability, not based on the coach's availability. So someone who goes to work, if they want to do the program, they can do on weekends, or and also, yeah, late evenings as well. And I also forgot to mention that this program is not only offered in English, but also offered in 15 different languages. And Tamil is also one of them. So I am a coach. I do in Tamil and English, and there are a lot of coaches, they do the same. Unfortunately, there are workbooks translated in different language. We are still working on translating the workbooks in Tamil. Hopefully, that will be available. Um, and I have to tell, if someone is curious about bounce back, definitely they can go to the website and watch some videos. And there are certain themes that discuss in the video we're gonna touch in the workbooks and throughout the program. The bounce back, is it really effective? That's the question. It's very effective. Like I mentioned, we're using a very much evidence-based approach using cognitive behavior therapy. So, for example, when we started in August 2017 until December 2018, we did a survey. We had like 764 clients, and they, their anxiety symptoms and depression symptoms reduced by half, like 50% or 44%. Um, So we also did some surveys, and a lot of people recommend this program. 93% of people, and 94 people find that this program is helpful, and they like the services as well. Um, how do you refer to the program? Before I just tell, there are requirements for people to be eligible for this program. BounceBack is a self-help program, so someone need to be in a mild to moderate depression level. I mean, depression comes from mild, moderate, severe range. So we support people from mild to moderate level because typically people tend to be in a severe depression may not have the motivation and concentration level to focus on this program. However, they are more than welcome and give it a try in the assessment session where the coaches could tell them whether they're going to be eligible or not. Most likely, the family doctors know about this requirement as well. Um, but other than that, people have an anxiety, they tend to come. I also have to tell you, people with personality disorder or psychosis or manic who experience within last 6 months, they're not going to be eligible for this program. Again, it's not about providing a service. It's all about like they succeed in this program. So when they really struggle a lot, they may not able to find the focus and be more successful in this program. That's the reason we kind of have this requirement. And is anyone above 15 or older, they could be a participant in this program as well. And someone is not misusing alcohol. Like when I say misusing alcohol, if someone drinking, that could impact their participation in the program, then they're not going to be eligible for this program. And you can see on the right hand side, this is a typical um, primary care practitioner referral form. There's a website you could also go and do it. You can see it down at the bottom. It's called bouncebackontario.ca. You could go there and click adult or youth get started, and then you could go and there's a form. You could fill it out. This is a and in terms of understanding what is this program is all about, you could go to the website again to understand. For our Tamil participant, I do have to mention that it's because the workbooks are now really translated in Tamil yet, so there's a basic English understanding supposed to be there. Like if someone able to understand the workbooks and internalize the material. So if someone cannot read the workbooks, then they're not going to be more successful in this program. However, we do the coaching component in Tamil, so we do speak in Tamil. But the workbooks are not in Tamil.
Nice. Let me get back to you. Okay. All right. So, a couple of questions quickly, Harry. Thank you for the great information. Actually, it's a really wonderful program. I can see that. Any challenges you can share that it doesn't matter. I know it's moderate cases or but still some of the challenges you see. Why I am asking you this question is because we are talking on the men's platform. So let's say when you meet younger men or adult men especially, do you see any challenges when they open up or any kind of they are not really open to have that idea, or what, I'm okay with that,
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and that's a challenge because as one of the challenge in mental health, I mean, generally not on bounce back, but also in typical mental health system is the stigma, right? How other people will perceive them, and are they going to judge them? And mental health considered as it's not considered as like a normal physical health, because if anyone with the depression, people will perceive their person is so weak. Apparently, as they're not weak, but that's how other people perceive. So people are really concerned about that. And that's why the bounce back program is very helpful, because you do on your own time. You can do everything on your private. Everything is confidential. And as the coach, we are non-judgmental and we are very supportive. So if anyone feel anxious about talking about it, they don't need to be worried about that, how they be going to be perceived. I mean, this as a mental health professional, we are non-judgmental. We are trained to do that. Um, the another challenge could be it's opening up about the emotions, and this is not a counseling program, so they don't need to like worry about that, because everything is related to the workbook. So when they work on the workbooks, they could relate it whatever they feel on the workbooks, and they could able to share with me easily. Versus they go to a counseling where they could able to question that a lot. But again, that's something that people could learn it, because that's really important. Like if you don't open up about your challenges, then you may not able to get the right support. Um, So bounce back, I always think as an early intervention program because a lot of the youth and a lot of the men and other people, what happen when they're experiencing an early stage of depression or anxiety, they don't reach out. There are a lot of reasons. I mean, one could be the person is experiencing stigma or don't know how to communicate their emotions with others, or they feel like uncomfortable opening up about their emotions, and also they don't have the right services for them to do that. So these are the elements. Is where people really struggling to be more successful in terms of getting services. So I could encourage them to reach out to those people. For example, this is a free program and they could do it from their home. They don't need to go and see anyone. So they can put a minimal effort to get better. So Bounce Back is a really good program in terms of that as an early intervention because if you don't really put the effort to work on it, then people ended up being in a crisis situation. I mean, the Cambridge Hospital wrote a report like a couple of years ago. The people ended up being in a hospital when they feel suicidal. It's happened to be a lot in the South Asian and Asian community more than any other community. Um,
I have a question from one of the listeners. Please share the difference between the coaching and therapy in Canada, including reference to regulations, rules, and legislation. So,
yeah, sure. Um, so the coaching component and counseling, they are separate avenues. Like so, coaching components. What we do here, everything is based on the workbook. So we really stick with the workbook, and we don't go outside of the workbooks. And we obviously we talk about your emotions or what you're going through, but we don't go in a very deeper layer. And these coaching components are very structured. We do have a set of agenda. We will go through that, and it's only 20 to 25 minutes. And the coaches are not a clinician or therapist. Versus counseling, counseling tend to be more very unstructured and it's very open space, and also um, it's more than 25 minutes. Usually it takes about 40 to 45 minutes, and you don't have any of these workbooks. So you openly go and have a conversation and you work with your therapist. Um, so that's the, and therapists tend to be the counselors, they tend to have a higher education, and it's a different structure like in terms of the services. Again, it's what the participant needs. If they want someone to talk openly, they want to be listened, and that's the direction they want to go, then they could focus on the counseling part. If someone want to learn, okay, these are the problems, I'm having a very negative thought, my behaviors are not really helpful, or I'm really feeling stuck, I don't know how to come out of it, but I want to learn some tools to get better, then Bounce Back program is very effective because we focus on that areas. In a counseling, it might take a little bit longer for people to get to that level and focus on it, but in Bounce Back, we get into that directly.
I think maybe I just want to add one more question onto that. When we talk about like regulations, rules, and legislation, which is the program actually initiated in UK, right, British. So when it's actually brought to here in Canada, adapted. So have they changed anything, or just adapted? Just simple changes and then adapted, or just any major changes? Do you know? Do you have any idea about that?
The major changes I could say, like so this program we tend to like offer to different communities.
Right.
That's one of the things the mental health system needed, because a lot of community members who don't speak the language, they are really struggling to get the services.
Okay.
Even finding a Tamil counselor therapist is very difficult. I mean, we are getting there, but looking back 10 years, it's very rare to find those people and able to talk to them, right? And if someone who don't speak English properly and struggling with a severe depression, they might not feel supported enough. So I'm not sure what happening in England, but here we took the workbooks and translating into different languages. Like we have it in Mandarin, Arabic, and Spanish, French, and We are working on translating in Tamil. I'm not sure when we're gonna be completing that. Yeah, so that way this is kind of different from that. But in terms of the approach, in terms of the material, everything is same. I mean, whether it's UK or here.
So before I let you go, can you quickly give some stories or some cases? You don't need to disclose any personal information, but
Yeah,
it's one or two. Like, you know what? Before the person starts the program and after complete the program, can you share something?
I have so many exciting story about it. That's why I believe this program could be helpful, particularly anxiety. A lot of us are really experiencing anxiety. So, for example, I had a participant kind of scared to get into the subway because it's crowded and they feel like don't know how to navigate it. That was the initial stage that a person have a severe anxiety. So we used some of the workbook and we did some practice and encouraged her to do some of the activities and behavioral activities. And that person gradually able to improve, and she started going to the subway even if it's crowded. She doesn't care anymore. Um, and she was able to do that only after five sessions. So I mean, mental health could be seems like a very complex area. I mean, someone could challenge experiencing a lot of things, but you could start by focusing on one thing,
Mhm.
and you could start working on that. And when you became more successful in that, for example, this person could experiencing a depression and anxiety and getting into a subway,
Yeah.
but TTC, the person got into that and she felt better. She got the motivation and confidence that she could able to get better in other areas, and that's why she was focusing on it. I have a lot of people experiencing a severe depression. At least understanding what is really happening to them is a great way to begin. A lot of people don't understand why I'm really feeling depressed. What is exactly causing me to feel depressed or anxious? And this is a program kind of teach them why you're really feeling it itself really reduce their symptoms. And then we focus on the tools that will help you to reduce your overall symptoms. And then they work on that too, and that help them to feel better overall. I mean, it happens so many times. I could say that.
So one more thing. I know it's a self-help program, but how about the in terms of the support from the family? Is it mandatory, or how they can support? If somebody is actually, it doesn't matter either male or female going on taking that program, but how can they support?
Um, Typically, the youth tend to get support from parents. I mean, the parents, some youth very feel anxious about talking to someone.
Hmm.
But sometimes they don't really open up with us. The parents are really there to encourage them or be with them throughout the sessions because youth could have guardians and they have a consent the parents to be there. So the parents are more than welcome to be there and listen. Meanwhile, the youth is really participating in the program. Um, when it comes to support, family members could do support them outside of this the coaching sessions. Like they could motivate them or try to help them to do the workbooks together. Even parents could learn a lot about it. So sometimes parents don't understand how to support their youth or family members, and there are workbooks they could work together about having a healthy communication relationship, and that's the way they could support each other. If the parents are like don't know how to support their kids, the basic thing you could do for themselves, like listen intentionally without advice giving. Um, and Obviously, one other thing is you could ask them, what do you feel like could help them? Rather, you tell them, oh, if this could be the best one for you, go and do it. That's not going to work. Whether it's youth or anyone, you could ask them, like, what you think is going to be helpful for you? Do you feel like you talking to someone is going to be feel comfortable, or you think doing this program could be helpful? And just encourage them. Another thing is you could do like when they talk about doing some activities, you could go with them and encourage them and be with them, be more supportive. The social component is hugely important, but it's not really given the priority in a lot of families, I could say.
It's true. It's true. Very true. All right. Do you have anything else to add before let you go?
No, I mean, if anyone have any questions about BounceBack program, they're more than welcome to go to the website. And
In case if somebody is interested and then to become a coach like you guys, what's the step? What are the steps? They had to take it. Is it a long step or?
no, I mean, when we hired, you could check the career website, the CMH York region, and you could apply. And we do provide a very intense training, and we do a lot of role play, and everything is supervised by clinical psychologist. And so the training is a huge component to this job. And as long as if you really speak Tamil, yeah, we are really welcoming. You're more than welcome to come, because we're looking for like someone who could speak Tamil and English together, because that's something you're looking to support our community as well. So yeah, you could check the website often, but I think hopefully in the future we're gonna hire.
Yeah, well, the reason why I was asking is the program is only referred, or it's only available in Ontario, but also the people, whoever is watching or hearing about that other part of the province or other part of the country, they may think, okay, you know what, how can I, or how we can benefit from this. So it's not only Tamil community, but also the demand is so high, because we are talking about 400,000 people here in Canada, Tamil community alone. So we have a large number of Tamil people, and then we are having a very, very higher issue in terms of depression or anything, you name it. So that's one of the reason we're going to have the session in Tamil too. But this is commonly, I just want to serve to other communities too, other ethnic groups too. So thank you. I really appreciate Harry, and looking forward to hear from more. And then special thanks to Sunita and Kamej, actually CMHA, and for this great opportunity to work with you guys. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Take care.
Take care. Thanks.